Monsieur le Président, tous les coûts augmentent, oui, mais les conséquences ne sont pas également partagées. Oh non. Celles et ceux qui vivent avec un revenu modeste ou faible devaient faire des choix difficiles avant que l'inflation ne commence à se faire sentir. La hausse des loyers, des prix des aliments et des carburants amène plusieurs à revoir leurs priorités, mais pour les personnes à revenus modestes, les conséquences sont graves. Le Premier ministre ne semble pas avoir un plan concret pour aider les personnes les plus touchées par l'augmentation du coût de la vie. Il a prévu une augmentation du salaire minimum en octobre. Le Premier ministre va-t-il reporter cette augmentation du salaire minimum au 1er juin pour aider les gens qui en ont besoin maintenant?
The Minister of Post-Secondary Education, Training and Labour.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we're very proud of the fact that we have the single largest increase to minimum wage in over 40 years. The first one took place on April 1st. The next one's going to take place in October, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, it's about balance. We have to make sure that we fight for those that can't fight for themselves. We're talking about people that aren't represented by a union in this province, and we've taken leadership on this side of the House. But at the end of the day, we've also got to balance that with the economic realities of our province too, Mr. Speaker, and we have to allow small business owners who are just doing everything they can each and every day to stay afloat as well. I believe we've struck that balance here, Mr. Speaker, but I think we should celebrate the fact that this is the single largest increase to minimum wage in over 40 years.
The member for Fredericton South and Leader of his party.
Mr. Speaker, minimum wage earners need that increase now, not later. Another group of New Brunswickers who are not holding up well under the growing cost of living are the individuals and families who depend on income assistance, trying to meet their needs. We know by any measure that income assistance rates were horribly inadequate to cover the costs of the bare necessities of life before the cost of living took off. Today, individuals and families are staring into the abyss of deep poverty like never before. Mr. Speaker, will the Premier implement a 6-month adjustment for the cost of living and raise income assistance rates overall by $100 per month?
Minister of Social Development.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We do have a plan to help those in need, and we're implementing that plan. I was in the House the other day giving a list of the things we've done to help the people receiving social assistance, and one of those issues was an increase in cost of living. Mr. Speaker, that was never done before, and we're doing it. This government is progressive. Mr. Speaker, a number of the other issues that I didn't get to when I was going over my list, because it was such an extensive list, is one of the things that we've reviewed is the household income policy, and I know members opposite have an issue with that, but that's going to help over 2,000 people here in the province of New Brunswick, Mr. Speaker, and that's an investment of over $4 million. Mr. Speaker, we've increased the contribution that this government makes to increase affordable housing. If private developers or co-ops or non-profits want to build housing, we've increased the capital contribution from $40,000 to $70,000. That's
member for Fredericton South and Leader of his party.
Mr. Speaker, I've made 2 concrete suggestions on how the Premier can immediately, in the short term, provide some relief to those feeling the greatest impact from the rising cost of living on everything. Mr. Speaker, instead, the Premier is using the carbon tax as a wedge issue, embroiled in a ridiculous debate with the Leader of the official opposition, when he's already giving almost all of the carbon tax collected directly back to New Brunswickers. It's how he's funding his income tax cuts. It's how he's subsidizing natural gas users. It's how he reduced the gas tax. He's already giving the money back. It's a red herring debate. So, Mr. Speaker, let me make a third concrete discussion in the short term, and you can help people who are really hurting here. PEI has already implemented this. The HST is the only tax that generates more revenue than higher the prices of goods and services rise. Will the Premier use the windfall HST revenue to increase the provincial portion of the HST rebate for low-income New Brunswickers to help them out during these difficult times?
The Honourable Premier.
So, Mr. Speaker, it was nice to hear the Leader of the Green Party talk about the fact that we're already redistributing all the carbon tax back to the people of this province. Mr. Speaker, Leader of the Liberal Party could acknowledge that, so we're kind of got an agreement on that front. So now, Mr. Speaker, we get back to, okay, what can we do immediately? Because the Leader of the Green Party also suggests now's the time to do something concrete to help right now people that are experiencing the high costs. It then flows into the cost of commodities and goods, groceries, everything, Mr. Speaker. So that brings us back to the pumps. And the conversation that's on the floor, Mr. Speaker, and the motion that will be on the floor tomorrow introduced is relating to full support for me to go back to the federal government and say, I'm going to redirect this carbon tax. I'm going to be able to reduce taxes, and I'm going to use it for a 4-month window here in order to reduce prices at the pump. Immediate relief, Mr. Speaker, for everybody in this province that are experiencing high cost of goods. So, Mr. Speaker, my question would be to the Leader of the Green Party. Would he also support a motion? Full support from all members in this House to reduce it and make it happen, Mr. Speaker.